Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kayfabe Central podcast and another episode of the. No, I almost had the Kayfabe sessions. I haven't done those in a while. Of the headlines in pro wrestling this week. My mind is all over the place today, so excuse me. Um, yeah, I haven't done a Kayfabe sessions episode in a while. I think the last person I interviewed was Jackson or Aaron Stevens. Um, but yeah, this is the headlines in pro wrestling this week. Going solo for this edition. Um, Rue and Stu are not able to join me today, so I will be going over um everything that is going on in the world of professional wrestling this week, from TV recap to news in the industry. We're going to be going over for some WWE Unreal stuff, talking about Raw, NXT, SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, all those things. Before we get into that, make sure you guys are subscribed, like, and comment, hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews that come to the channel. That's if you're on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, make sure you hit the follow button, leave a comment down below on YouTube or Spotify. I always love hearing you guys' thoughts and opinions, whether you agree or disagree. So let me know. Um, if you want to help out on the monetary side of things, go ahead and check out the Kayfabe Central Ko-Fi page. It's $5 minimum to subscribe to the exclusive wrestling content tier. So go ahead and check that out. We also have a Discord server where myself, Rue, I believe Stu is in there. I can't fully remember. But yeah, go ahead and join the Discord server if you just want a place to go ahead and talk about wrestling, throw your predictions for pay-per-views. Today is SummerSlam Saturday. It's the day of night one of SummerSlam. So yeah, we're gonna be hoping that some people throw their predictions in there, get the chat moving a little bit. So go ahead and join up the Discord. It's always in the description below. Um, but yeah, let's get straight into the headlines of the week. For this episode, let's start off by talking about WWE Unreal. Now, I managed to watch all 5 episodes of this, and I like it and dislike it because, and I'll tell you the reasons I dislike it, and it's for the obvious reasons of like everybody going around and saying, um, like the whole protect the business thing and how stuff like this should be kept sacred. And I completely understand that. It's totally understandable why people would feel that way, and to a degree, I feel that way as well. I'm like, like people who are just getting into wrestling will like see this and be like, oh no, now I'm not too much interested in it. Or maybe it'll make people more interested in wrestling. It all depends on preference. There were a few things that I did like about this though. Like, I liked seeing the conference room and them having the whiteboard there. And like obviously, like with reality shows, a lot of them aren't really reality. A lot of them are like still scripted, and they have certain things like you watch things like, I don't, like The Amazing Race, and it's like, okay, you're gonna read out the next location, but you're gonna do it at this angle this time, um, because it would just be a better angle. And like it's stuff like that. That goes on in reality shows. And I'm pretty sure like some of the things that happened in WWE Unreal, they were scripted and they were just put there for the show. Um, but like the whiteboard in the conference room, like they obviously use that whiteboard. They're not gonna just buy a whole other whiteboard just for show. Um, and I found that pretty cool because they have all the matches, all potential storylines written on that whiteboard. They even color code the superstars, like red for Raw and blue for SmackDown, so they don't lose track of who's where. And they don't think like, oh, LA Knight's on Raw or something like that. Um, so yeah, I find that pretty cool. That's pretty kind of just like a dork kind of thing to notice. But it's I like it. It's kind of just I don't know. It's like kind of like an OCD thing, I guess. enjoy seeing. The conference room was cool. Um, and just seeing them all around the table and talking about storylines and all that things like that. Um, I liked I liked a few other things here. I'm not gonna go over the entire show. Just like bits that I kind of liked. Like CM Punk taking a Sour Patch Kids before he heads out to the ring. I can definitely see him doing that. I don't think that was like predetermined for show or anything like that because I know um he's eating like donuts and muffins at post show conferences, so I can definitely see him doing something like that. One thing is like Chelsea Green seems really cool, and she just seems like such a down to earth person, and seeing the behind the scenes of her was really cool. And yeah, fellow Canadian as well. And yeah, she just seems really cool, like a cool person, and she loves her job, and she's happy to be in the WWE. And yeah, I'm completely glad to see that. Um, what else happened on Unreal? I literally just have written down thoughts on WWE Unreal, so I'm just kind of like going through what happened. There was a point in the show where it was um Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, and I believe this was the Netflix premiere match. So it was, Punk and Rollins, and they were at a point where they went like a minute and a half over the time, and um Abyss, I'm forgetting his real name right now, but Abyss, who's a match producer there, is like apologizing to Bruce Pritchard and saying, "I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to get them to go home. I'm trying to get them to wrap it up." And they went over a little bit, and after the match, um, he goes up to Bruce Pritchard and says, "Like, I'm sorry, man. I tried to get them home, um, and all that stuff. I tried to end it as fast as I could." And Bruce was kind of just like, it was overproduced, went overtime, but it was fine. But said it in a tone where it was kind of like kind of rude towards Abyss. And then William Regal just came up to Abyss and be like, and Abyss was like, is he mad at me? And Regal was like, no, fuck him. Like it is what it is. And I kind of enjoyed seeing that. Don't fully know if that was like TV just for the show. It didn't seem like it. It kind of just seemed like that was a genuine moment where they went overtime, and it's Punk and Rollins. They're going to go overtime. Um they'll go as long as they want. It's CM Punk and Seth Rollins. That's what they're gonna do. Um there was also another funny moment with CM Punk and uh Ivar and Adam Pearce. They were, I believe this was at like WrestleMania. They were like rehearsing for the matches and whatever, and out of nowhere, as Charlotte Flair is working on her match with TJ Wilson, aka Tyson Kidd. CM Punk just randomly shouts at her and asks, "Hey Charlotte, you ever shit yourself in the ring?" And then Charlotte was just like, "Yeah, no, I might have peed a little." Um, and that was a cool moment. Ivar was telling them a story of how he shit himself in the ring, but was able to keep it between the cheeks. Um, that I don't think either is just for the show. I think that was just guys talking amongst each other and just having fun. I found it kind of funny that it's at WrestleMania and Punk is like just asks Charlotte, "Hey, you ever shit yourself in the ring?" Um, yeah, and like a lot of people, and this is a completely different point. A lot of people didn't really know how much that these wrestlers have to memorize going into these matches. As a former pro wrestler, I can tell you, and like obviously, I don't think I've had a match that I went as long as like a Punk and Rollins or anything like that. Um, but it is a lot to memorize sometimes, and sometimes you forget, and it does happen, and that's why you see like um you can kind of tell sometimes when wrestlers are panicking when they were supposed to do a spot and they didn't get to do it. So now they have to like try and figure something else out to get to a spot. Um, like I remember one match I was in, like we it wasn't necessarily we forgot it, but I went for a famous here. I was supposed to get caught up in like a power bomb position and then slip out behind and roll him up for the win. We botched that move once and I didn't get my leg over and botched that move. Then for some reason I went for it again. I believe this was my first match actually. Um Went for it again and we botched it again. And obviously my inexperience, I I just telling myself, okay, I got to go for it again. I did it in practice before, I can do it. Not realizing that that just looked completely stupid. And I could have just tried to figure out a way to get there in another way. Um and then the third time was the charm. I We got it on the third time. But it's stuff like that. Like you do have to memorize a lot. And like you saw a clip of like Charlotte Flair just in the back by herself, just doing motions and going over her match. And it's just like it really made me laugh because I remember doing that exact thing, and it just like made me laugh because like sometimes like wrestlers just look so stupid just going over the match by themselves. From like someone outside looking in, it could just be like, what the hell are they doing? Um, but yeah, that's just like how they memorize the matches, and yeah, it can be a lot to memorize sometimes. But yeah, that's just a cool little thing I just wanted to point out. Um, if you are thinking about watching WWE Unreal, I don't know if it's something I'd necessarily recommend to somebody to watch, but if you're interested in watching it, then go right ahead. I'm not anyone to tell you what you should and shouldn't like. Um, Everyone has their different interests and all that stuff. So if it's something you're interested in watching, go ahead and watch it. If you're on the fence and do want my opinion, I would say like you'll find a lot of clips on social media and stuff like that. Like I saw clips on social media before I even finished the show, and like there's articles about it if that's something that piques your interest. I don't have any articles on it. I didn't write anything about it. But like I know Fightful has a lot of them as well. They have like 40 something articles just about WWE Unreal. And you can find a whole bunch of other stuff elsewhere. So, um, yeah, that's just my opinion. You don't have to watch all 5 episodes. You can get a gist of everything that happened. Um, if they do make another season, I will be watching it. But it's like it is what it is. Some of it you can really tell it was just there for show. Um, like I wonder if Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton really had beef, or if that was just there, just for the show. Um, yeah. So on a completely unrelated topic, WWE Speed seems like it's gone now. Um, yeah, this is weird because like I never liked WWE Speed. I never watched an episode. I actually that's a lie. I might have watched like one episode of Speed. Um, I guess it was just this thing to get a little bit extra money from X/Twitter. Um, I'm always gonna call it Twitter. I just cannot bring myself to call it X. It just sounds so weird. And like the owner is just a piece of shit. Um, and speaking of a piece of shit, I don't have this in the topics or written down or anything to talk about because I'm honestly just tired of talking about things like this on the podcast and just trying to stay out of the political realm of things and just stick to wrestling as much as I can. But Triple H had a thing where he was um alongside Donald Trump um for like a bodybuilding thing. I didn't really get a gist of what it was. Um but celebrating with Donald Trump, whatever. And I am personally not a supporter of Donald Trump, and I don't think Triple H aligning himself with that is a good thing, and kind of lost a little bit more respect for Triple H after that because like I'm someone who will never support pieces of shit, especially pedophiles and racists, um, especially to that extent. And if somebody is supporting that, I just assume that you support those beliefs as well, and um, or you're doing the same things or something along those lines. So yeah, middle finger to Triple H for that one. If that ruins my chances at ever doing anything for WWE, then that sucks. But I am someone who's going to lay out my opinion on here, and I just yeah, I didn't like that at all, and I didn't even bother putting it in the topics here because yeah, I'm just trying to stay out of that. But I just wanted to give my quick opinion on that, just in case anybody was like, oh, he didn't talk about this. Um, but yeah, WWE Speed is going away. It seems like they haven't promoted the championships or anything like that. Maybe they'll just take the title off of Sol Ruka. Um, yeah, I don't. I never really liked this idea, and I think that main event should go as well next. I just don't see a point for it. It's like Speed and main event are like, okay, well, like Alba Fire's not doing anything tonight. Let's throw her in a match and have her lose to whoever, or Ivy Niles not doing anything, or she's already at the bottom of the like women's division card or whatever. And so we're gonna have her lose to whoever. Um yeah, it was just a useless show to be honest, and nobody really watched it at all. I don't know anybody that paid attention to WWE Speed. So yeah, I think that this is a good riddance to be honest. Um, TNA is possibly going to A&E or the CW and potentially moving to Sunday nights. Um, I don't I don't like this. I don't like the idea of moving to Sunday nights. The TV deal, I completely get. You got to do what you got to do. They're currently, and as somebody who is media affiliated with TNA, their weekly shows are sometimes hard to watch, and not in a sense of like the content is bad. It literally sometimes just never shows on the channels it's supposed to. For me, I live in Canada, so it's supposed to show on Sportsnet 360 every Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern, or like whatever. I know they did like they're doing like a 9 o'clock show or whatever. Um but it's supposed to go on at that time. There's sometimes it doesn't come on. And I have Access TV, and there's times I've put on Access TV and it wasn't on there either. So, and like my TNA Plus thing just doesn't work. And I had a whole thing of where my subscription didn't include the TNA Impact episodes, and I was told that it was going to be like the episodes that are uploaded on there like 2 weeks after. I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't fucking help me. Um, but yeah, in terms of moving to Sunday nights, I don't like it because you're just getting in the way of pay-per-views. And I know WWE does a lot of their pay-per-views on Saturdays, but AEW tends to do their pay-per-views on Sundays quite a bit. And that's just not something you want to compete with or contend with. And yeah, I just don't like that idea. Thursday nights, there's nothing really. I think Thursday nights is perfect for TNA. I think they should stay there. And the and E and CW thing is because of the WWE relation. Um, so yeah, I think it's cool that WWE is trying to get them a TV deal as well. Get more eyes on TNA. I always felt like there should be more eyes on TNA. Especially because I know people personally that either work for TNA or are somewhat associated with it. And yeah, I think that this will be great for TNA to get a TV deal. I know Eric Bischoff said if TNA gets a TV deal, it can be bigger than AEW. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think AEW's just on another level above TNA right now, and I don't know if TNA can catch up. I could be proven wrong though. TNA does have great talent, so it very well could. Um, let's move on to some TV stuff now. So for Monday Night Raw, Let's pull up Monday Night Raw. We had tributes to Hulk Hogan to start off Raw and NXT. So that was that. I am going to start writing Jey Uso promo on these coverage posts because he just honestly just comes out and says the same thing every single time. And I think if I write Jey Uso promo and just that alone, everyone will know what he said and what was said and everything that happened in that promo. It's just gonna be like, I'm gonna win at SummerSlam. Yeet. Full letters, one word. Yeet. That's literally all it's gonna be. Um, Monday Night Raw wasn't too bad this week. It wasn't too bad at all. They had some good matches on there. Um, Pete Dunne is apparently El Grande Americano now, so they seems like they're continuing that. I don't like that for Pete Dunne at all. Ludwig Kaiser is doing a decent job as El Grande Americano. He's working with what he's been given, and like he was singing in Spanish in AAA to that crowd over there. So that was pretty funny when I saw that clip. Um, yeah, so in terms of other stuff that happened on Monday Night Raw, Bronson Reed took Roman Reigns' shoes, which Bubba Ray came on and was like, I had no idea that was such a big thing to take someone else's shoes. He should do that every week. Don't agree with that point. I don't think that there should be a consistent thing at all. Um, I don't think he should be doing that every week. But yeah, a decent episode of Monday Night Raw. Nothing else too crazy happened that I am seeing here. Lyra Valkyria, we kind of went over this through the SummerSlam predictions, but she cut a promo um and talking about how she's gonna face Becky Lynch in 2 weeks, no 1 week. Uh I'm sorry. We all fuck up. I fuck up sometimes on this podcast as well. It happens, let alone in front of like thousands of people in front of an audience. I'm just always going to like poke fun and make jokes about it. Even though it happens and that's perfectly fine. It's just who I am. She had her Becky Stompers on, which we made jokes about as well on the SummerSlam predictions as well. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. Um, yeah, it wasn't the greatest promo. Lyra Valkyria has been growing on me lately, as I've mentioned before. When she first came up to the main roster, I was someone who thought that she maybe got called up too soon. But as weeks progress, as months progress, she started to grow on me, and I'm starting to like Lyra Valkyria. Um, didn't think the promo was necessarily good. Um, but it is what it is. It was fine, and she did something different. It wasn't just I'm gonna beat you at SummerSlam, Becky. Um, she added the whole like Becky Stompers thing to it, and like that's what we took away from the promo. It's like, okay, it was something different, which I can appreciate. Um, so that was a little bit funny. Um, yeah, that's that from Monday Night Raw. Now NXT was very weird as always. Now I'm sad that Rue and Stu aren't here for this because I actually enjoyed this episode of NXT just because of how stupid it was. And they popped to me quite a bit sometimes. Like at some points here. Jeez, I'm losing my train of thought and words. Um so we have we'll go through what happened here. So we had two sets of matches, right? And like this was pretty confusing at first. So we had Jada Parker versus Jasmine Nix and Lash Legend versus Fallon Henley scheduled because both of them are going after JC Jane for the NXT Women's Championship, or maybe both the Knockouts and NXT Women's title. They're going after JC Jane nonetheless. So the way I was thinking that this would go is Jada Parker beats Jasmine Nix, Lash Legend beats Fallon Henley, and then we get a match between Jada and Lash or a triple threat or whatever the case may be, like we always see. So Jada Parker defeats Jasmine Nix. And so okay, I'm like, okay, yep, that happened. Before that though, we had a segment with uh Kalani Jordan, Lola Vice, Jada Parker, and um Blake Monroe. And Lash Legend did not interrupt. And this was before the Lash Legend match. Lash did not interrupt. And then Jada Parker, who has shown signs of being a babyface lately, was standing side by side with Blake Monroe. And like she like shoved Blake Monroe off and whatever and was like playing like I don't like you. But then Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice were standing side by side. So I'm like, okay, these four are like they're also going after the big title. They're going after JC Jane as well. But where is Lash Legend? We find out just not too long after that Lash Legend and Fallon Henley go toe to toe. Fallon Henley defeats Lash Legend, and it's because, and I completely didn't expect this, Nia Jax attacks Lash Legend while the ref's back is turned and costs her the match. And we saw an explanation with Nia Jax, explaining why she did it is because Lash eliminated her from the not the Royal Rumble, from the Battle Royal at Evolution, and Lash was talking about how she's most dominant, and Nia was like, "I'm the only most dominant woman in WWE. It's not going to be you." So that seems like it's a feud, but really confusing because they should have put this match before the segment with Blake Monroe and Kalani and Lola and them. Um, I think that just would have made more sense and wouldn't have been as confusing. Um, because like after all that, now I understand. I'm like, okay, Lash Legend is going to be busy with Nia Jax. That's why she's not going to be involved in this title picture. But yeah, very confusing the way they went about this. Some other things we had on NXT. Um, Chase U. So the Undertaker gave Javon Evans advice to go after the biggest dog in the yard. Andre Chase told Kale Dixon and Uriah Connors the same thing. He was like, "You guys should do the same thing." They thought that meant that we have to go attack the tag champs, Hank and Tank, with chairs. So they burst into the locker room with chairs, and Hank and Tank are like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What the hell? What are you doing?" And um, Kale Dixon and Uriah Connors is like, "We want a shot at the match. We want a shot at the tag titles." Um, and they're just like, "You could just ask," and they're like, "Oh, well, that was easy." And Andre Chase comes in and is like, I didn't fucking tell you to do that." Um, this was funny. This actually popped me, and it was so it was so stupid to the point where it was funny. And that's just what NXT has been. And Kel Dixon and Uriah Connors are like um the idiot partners, like Edge and Christian back in the day, just complete jackasses. And it's funny. And a lot of times when NXT does stupid things, it's just not funny and it's just purely stupid. This week they did a few things where it was funny. And I enjoyed it. Um we had Tavian Heights defeating Charlie Dempsey, so he's no longer in the no quarter catch crew. So I guess he's branching out on his own. Um, what else happened on NXT of significance? So the Blake Monroe promo, I didn't talk about that. So she comes out and makes fun of Jordan Grace for being ugly and says that's why she turned on Jordan Grace. I, this is bad. This is the NXT that I've been bagging on for weeks because I don't understand this at all. You turn on on your on your partner because she's ugly. Doesn't make sense. And Blake Monroe also has a pin over JC Jane, so shouldn't she be going after JC, who's holding the NXT Women's title? That just that makes sense. Um, but I guess not. They're gonna go this route with Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace. Um, yeah, just stupid. Um, we had a backstage segment also with Lexus King interrupting Ava, Stevie Turner, and Robert Stone, where Ava, Turner, and Robert Stone were talking about the injury. So Stevie Turner was saying, Jordan Grace is injured, but she'll be back soon. Robert Stone said Ricky Sainz is injured, but he'll be back soon. It's not that bad. Lexus King comes in and says that keeps on the idea that Miles Bourne is not deaf. And honestly, this is the best thing that Lexus King has done since he's gotten to the WWE. Because also the Heritage Cup has disappeared. I have no idea where the Heritage Cup has gone. So that's that. Um, but yeah, apparently, Lexus King is going to have a match against Miles Bourne next week. So yeah, this is stupid, but this was funny at the same time. Um, and I guess it gives Lexus something to do, gives Miles Bourne something to do. Um, yeah, that was NXT, stupid but funny. Uh, for the first time, honestly. um, some AEW Dynamite stuff. So we had the Young Bucks defeating the Outrunners. In the tag team eliminator match. After the match, Okada came out, attacked the Outrunners. Swerve came out for the save and took out Okada and the Bucks with a Swerve stomp. Um, we had Shelton Benjamin exposing MJF for a fake watch that he gave him. I believe it was a Rolex, and Shelton Benjamin says MJF is out of the Hurt Syndicate. So not sure where they're gonna go with that story now because this happened pretty quickly, where they accepted MJF into the Hurt Syndicate and now he's just kicked out of it. So yeah, very interested to see where that goes because yeah, they just formed them. They just aligned MJF with the Hurt Syndicate. So I'm curious as to where they go. Um, Christian Cage came out and talked about how Shayna, Nick Wayne's mom, has just been around the block pretty much. Um, he talks about Adam Copeland, says him and Copeland are the same, and then disowns Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian. After the words, Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne attacked Christian and gave him a terrible standing concerto. Um, like it didn't even look anywhere near that they hit his head. And obviously, you don't actually want to hit his head, but damn, they could have at least made it look somewhat real, or just have done a normal concerto. That would have been fine. Um, but I guess not. Um, a segment between FTR and the Young Bucks backstage. Stokely Hathaway tried to scare the Young Bucks. Found that pretty funny. Hangman Adam Page defeated John Moxley by pinfall to retain. I was surprised that this didn't main event. Really surprised, and I'm still confused as to why it didn't main event. Um, but yeah, Hangman retained, and after the match, or during the match actually, security was around the ring trying to prevent the Death Riders from interfering. They back up the Death Riders, um, and then Darby Allin just jumps off from like the crowd to the floor onto the Death Riders and all the security. That cost John Moxley the match for Hangman to hit the buckshot lariat. Um, we had a segment with Adam Page and MJF. Adam Page telling MJF he has to earn a title shot or use the contract if he wants a title match. Because people like Mark Briscoe are ahead of him in the line. Later on, we had Mark Briscoe defeating Ricochet. MJF attacked him after like MJF appeared on the Titantron and pretty much tricked Mark Briscoe, attacked him from behind. Hangman Adam Page came out to make the save. So I think we're getting MJF and Mark Briscoe next week, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's that. Um, Moving on to SmackDown. Actually, completely forgot to bring up on NXT that Tony D'Angelo got whacked off, Soprano-style. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what that's about. But yeah, Tony D'Angelo gets whacked off. Um, I don't really have much to say about that. I'm curious as to what this means for him, though. I know Stu or Rue, one of them brought up the fact that this could be a call up to the main roster and maybe a new addition to Seth Rollins' faction. That could be the case. We will see. I don't know if it's. I don't know if he'll fit. Um, yeah, I really don't know if he'll fit. But the whole thing was this was like a post credit scene for NXT where Tony D'Angelo was having dinner and the server says, here you go, Don. And Tony D says, I'm not the Don anymore. You can just call me Tony D. Then a shadowy figure appears and seems like Tony D got whacked. Um, so yeah, that was that. I forgot to bring that up. Um, but onto SmackDown. I believe we went over last week when Kiana James was announced as the like manager for Giulia, the current Women's United States Championship, because Giulia is struggling with English and it's making it hard for her promos. And Kiana James is going to be aligned with her, and I like this. It helps Giulia out a little bit, gives her a mouthpiece. Kiana James looks great, and yeah, I think she could play a good role as a manager, and I hope they just let her roll with this and see where it takes us because I think she does have a lot of good potential and it just keeps her doing something significant other than just putting her in random matches against people. Um, and I think she has the potential to be a better manager than a wrestler. And that's not a knock at her wrestling, but I think she can be a really good manager. Um, Giulia defeated Zelina Vega to retain the women's US title. Um, Cody Rhodes and John Cena kicked off the show though. Cena pretty much turned babyface on SmackDown, unless it's just like a ruse to trick everybody, and then he, you know, kicks the Cody in the dick on Sunday. Um, but yeah, he pretty much says he's real. He realizes he's been acting like an ass, and the past 5 months he was just had his head up far up his ass, and Cody gave him the wake up call that he needs. Cena said that he doesn't want to ruin wrestling. He says that he wants to leave with the title because he doesn't want the fans to forget about him. Um, yeah, I kind of felt bad for him when he said that, man. I'm like, damn, he might actually feel like that. It's possible he might actually feel like that, and that does suck. And I highly doubt John Cena's listening to this, but nobody's ever gonna forget John Cena, ever. Um, they don't call him the greatest of all time for no reason. But yeah, I kind of felt bad after he said that. I'm like, oh no, man, we're not gonna forget about Cena, man. Um, but yeah, I don't know if that this is a ruse for Cena to just turn back heel on Sunday. Um, it might not be because we were expecting Cena to turn babyface by SummerSlam, and this may just be Cena's back. Yeah, I don't know about a Cody Rhodes heel turn though. I know Stu was saying that Cody's going to need to turn heel. Um, I don't know. I don't know if he will. Um, this could just be Cody beats Cena, they shake hands, and Cena goes off, takes some time off, comes back for his next date, whatever, goes to his next feud. It could just go like that. Um, which is probably the more likely scenario, to be honest. Um, Los Garza's had a open challenge for the AAA Tag Team Championships. Mr. Iguana and Psycho Clown accepted. Um, so at this point, I was kind of just out of SmackDown because I was starting to feel sick. My dog just he did something so nasty. I'm just not even gonna explain it on the podcast. He did something so nasty, made my stomach so much more upset. So by the time this match came around, I was just like sitting there, still covering SmackDown, still typing the results, obviously. If you go check on the website, but I was just out of it. I was like, oh, this match is whatever. Um, we had Damian Priest defeating Aleister Black by disqualification. Um, that's how they're still doing it, right? The person who gets attacked with the weapon is the winner of the match. Yeah, I assume that's how it does. That's how I've grown to watch wrestling and learn wrestling. Um, but yeah, Aleister Black threw a chair at Damian Priest and attacked him. Bashed his head off against the stairs a bunch of times, and then hit him with a black mass. So that feud is gonna continue. Um, Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton had the most generic confrontation again. Nothing happened there. As Jade Cargill just said she's going to beat Tiffany Stratton at SummerSlam. Um, yeah, and then we had Solo Sokoa. We had Tala Tonga versus Jimmy Uso, where Tala Tonga beat Jimmy Uso, and after the match, Solo brought the cage down. Jacob Fatu came out. Solo Sokoa and Tala Tonga run out of the cage, and then Fatu takes out Tonga Loa and JC Mateo, and he's standing tall ahead of their match this weekend at SummerSlam. I believe that is on Sunday tomorrow. So yeah, not much else happened on SmackDown. This was a pretty just blah go home show. Um, yeah, that was Friday Night SmackDown. Um, Kyle Fletcher won the TNT Championship on Collision. I expected this to happen. When Dustin Rhodes won it at All In, I was someone who said, and I think Rue and Stu agreed with me with this as well, that that win was just to give the crowd a feel good moment after the Adam Cole announcement, and Kyle Fletcher will drop. Dustin Rhodes will drop that TNT title pretty soon, most likely to Kyle Fletcher, and that's what happened. So Kyle Fletcher's the TNT Championship. I love to see it. I'm a fan of Kyle Fletcher. He's got so much potential, and I think he is eventually going to be the face of AEW. And yeah, man, just a lot of things ahead of that guy. Um, yeah, I'm happy for him that he's the TNT champion. He deserves it. Yeah. So that is everything that I have here for the headlines of the week. I feel like I kind of just skimmed through everything. Uh, but yeah, that is everything that I have to talk about today. Let me know what you guys think. I have the countdown to SummerSlam to cover, or just to throw on because I really don't do any coverage for the countdown. I take notes if anything significant happens, but nothing ever happens that's significant. So I just have it on. But then also gotta figure out lunch and dinner ahead of time. So gonna do all that, gonna edit this, get this out to you guys. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this. If you agree or disagree with any points that I made, I always love hearing your opinions. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're listening on YouTube. Hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews that come to the channel. If you're on Spotify, make sure you hit the follow button. Leave a comment down there below as well. And yeah, I will see you guys on the SummerSlam post show either tonight or tomorrow. And then I'm not sure about night two if I'm going to wait for Rue to do that as well. But yeah, I will see you guys on the SummerSlam post show for night one. Take it easy.